is a very accomplished woman in her own right. She is a lawyer, a graduate of Tulane University, an advocate for women, for homeless people, an advocate for those people who cannot defend themselves. She became more prominent when she was married to the senior senator from Massachusetts. She was described in the New York Times as Senator Kennedy's closest confidant in politics and in life. I want to welcome Victoria Reggie Kennedy and thank her for being here.
Thank you. Thanks so much. Thank you, thank you. Sit down, thank you. Thanks so much. I'm so thrilled to be here. Doesn't Mark look great in his tie? He really does, and I think we've documented it for posterity. I think it's going to be in the newspaper. I think we can all count on it. It's great to see Mark Pacheco here. To be here with all of you. I'm so honored to be here, and I will be brief, I promise. But when Mark and Congressman Frank, who I will say something about in just a second, asked me to be here today, I was so thrilled to be here at Venus de Milo, not just because this is owned by wonderful Lebanese, and I'm a Lebanese, a proud Lebanese American. Isn't this a great place? And to be here with so many seniors, I was actually really interested that you have to be 62 to be a foster grandparent, but for all of the other senior programs, you have to be 55, and I am over 55. And although I have not accepted that I have qualified as a senior, and as I was saying to some of my friends in the back there, I realized I was in good company because Teddy, even though he left us when he was 77, never accepted that he was a senior either. And after seeing some of our honorees today, and congratulations to Mo and to Marie and to Angela and to Winifred, I don't think any of them have slowed down at all. If this is what being a senior is, bring it on. Wow. All of you make such a difference every day. And my husband loved working with Mark. Mark, I have to say this, excuse me for digressing, but he loved you so much, enjoyed working with you, and the words that you said, which I read and heard after his passing a year ago, touched me and my family so deeply, and I want to thank you for the bottom of my heart. And I want to thank so many of you, all of you, for the support and friendship and affection you had for him. It really meant the world to him. Thank you, and to all of us. Now, Mark talked about challenges facing us in healthcare, and I really will briefly talk about that. But because we're hearing a lot of things out there about difficulties facing us as a nation. But I was thinking on the way over here about Teddy and about his optimism and about his absolute belief that our best days were still ahead. And even when we faced difficulties, and this is something that Congressman Frank shares and something we've discussed often and something that he and Teddy discussed often, that even when we face difficulties, you just have to keep persevering. You just have to keep fighting through. You just have to keep moving forward. In Denver 2 years ago at the Democratic Convention, Teddy made a speech, which you may know about. He got up out of his sick bed with a kidney stone, which I thought rather remarkable that he spoke through the pain of a kidney stone. But he had this one phrase that has stuck with me over and over again. He said, "We are all Americans. This is what we do. We reach the moon. We scale the heights. I know it. I've seen it. I've lived it. And we can do it again." And it was that spirit of optimism and belief in our future that kept him fighting and fighting and fighting for health care. For 40 years he fought for health care. He knew that he fought for Medicare, and he saw the difference that made, and that was one of the things that was in his mind. We did it then. We can do it again for all Americans. And he didn't live to see the final product, but he fought and teed it up and left it to the rest of us to get it done. And thanks to Congressman Frank and his colleagues in the House, and thanks to Teddy's colleagues in the Senate, like John Kerry, and thanks to President Obama, we had leadership of people who were willing to take a chance in the face of unbelievable opposition to take a chance for people. So when Mark says that people talk about wanting to repeal it, I again say, kind of bring it on. If you look at what it does for Medicare, despite all of the noise out there, there's no pulling the plug on Granny or Grandpa, none. That's all just made up. It strengthens Medicare. There is not one single reduction in Medicare benefits, not one. In fact, there's a benefit. If you're in that donut hole of prescription drug coverage, you're going to start getting a check. You should have gotten a check if you're in that donut hole. And you'll start getting an increase in coverage on your prescription drugs. You'll get free preventive care. They want to repeal free preventive care. They want to repeal free mammograms. They want to repeal those free annual exams. I wouldn't think so. They want to repeal a benefit to small business for covering their employees. Why would they want to do that? They want to repeal the end of a lifetime cap on insurance coverage. So if someone gets a recurrence of breast cancer under this wonderful new bill, no insurance company can ever say again, sorry, you've reached your limit, we won't cover you. Or if you get sick, they can no longer say, sorry, you're sick, you're excluded, we're not covering you. This bill does so much, this new law does so much to improve the lives of people. It says to women, and I think this is it evens the playing field. Do you know that it used to be a pre-existing condition, and as this is phased in, it will no longer be. There'll be no pre-existing conditions for adults. There are none for kids now. But that it used to be a pre-existing condition if a woman were the victim of spousal abuse, she could be denied insurance coverage. Well, let's say to people who want to repeal, do you want women who are the victims of abuse to be denied insurance? No. I think we've got a lot of arguments. You don't need to hear all of them now because we know that we're not going to let that be repealed. This is too important for us as human beings, as citizens for citizens. We're all in this together. Our best days are still ahead. I am so proud to be here with you today. Thank you for giving me this chance to be with you. Thanks so much.
Thank you.